Have you ever felt like this world wasn't made for someone like you? Like you're watching life unfold behind a pane of glass, always observing, rarely belonging? Carl Jung, the brilliant Swiss psychiatrist, uncovered something astonishing about people who carry this deep sense of disconnection. And what he discovered may just change the way you see yourself forever. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why feeling like an outsider isn't a flaw. It might be proof of something rare, even sacred inside you. But let me ask you something first. What if the very thing that makes you feel different is the very thing the world needs most? Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Yet for some, becoming that authentic self feels impossible, like trying to bloom in soil that was never meant to nourish them. According to Carl Jung, there are certain individuals whose consciousness doesn't operate like the rest of the world. These people feel like foreigners, even in their own homes, schools, communities. Through years of study and clinical insight, Jung identified a pattern. Some people are born marked by what he called otherness, a subtle but powerful psychological imprint that sets them apart. These individuals often suffer, not because they're weak, but because the world misunderstands them. But Jung believed their suffering wasn't a curse. It was a call. So today we're going to uncover 8 undeniable signs that you might be one of these rare souls. And here's what makes this truly important. These signs are not signs of brokenness. They are signs of a unique consciousness that operates on an entirely different level. Stick around, because sign number 7 might just change how you understand everything you've ever been through. Sign 1. You see reality in a way others can't. This is where it begins. The first and most vital sign is that you don't just see the world, you see through it. While most people live in what Jung called the collective consciousness, you've likely developed what he termed differentiated consciousness, an ability to perceive dimensions of reality that others cannot. Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." You're one of those people who sees patterns where others see coincidence. You feel energy shifts in a room before a word is spoken. You sense what's not being said, and somehow you just know. This isn't fantasy or overthinking. Jung believed these people are attuned to the collective unconscious, the deeper, invisible web of human experience that binds us all. While others live on the surface, you dive into the depths, and that depth can make the world feel like a storm you're constantly weathering. Sign 2. Social interactions drain you. Carl Jung observed that for some people, socializing is not just exhausting, it's energetically depleting. It's not about being shy or introverted. It's about how your psyche processes connection. Jung found that these individuals often lead with what he called introverted intuition. They're not fueled by external stimulation like most people. They're overwhelmed by it. When you walk into a crowded room, you're not just navigating conversation. You're absorbing unspoken grief, concealed rage, hidden anxiety, and it all hits you like a wave. This is why parties feel like performances and small talk feels like noise. As Jung said, "Solitude is for me a fountain of healing which makes my life worth living." If you find yourself needing long stretches of solitude just to breathe again, you're not antisocial. You're sensitive to what others are blind to. Sign 3. You feel like an outsider studying human behavior. Jung noticed that some people don't just live in society. They analyze it like foreign observers. You might find yourself watching people and wondering, why do they follow these rules? Why do they pretend so much? Why don't they see what's really happening? These individuals possess what Jung called objective consciousness. They're able to step back from social programming and observe it with clarity. While others are caught in the rituals of normality, you're questioning everything. Jung believed this is because your soul remembers something older, something deeper than the current state of human society. You might feel like you're from another world. In truth, you might be here to help build a better one. Sign 4. You resist false authority. Jung made a startling observation. Some people react with intense inner resistance to illegitimate authority, not because they're defiant, but because they sense when power is being misused. Within these individuals lives what Jung called the archetype of the wise ruler, a deep inner compass that knows how power should serve, not control. If you've ever clashed with bosses, teachers, or leaders, not out of rebellion, but because you felt their leadership lacked integrity, this is why. You don't rebel to cause trouble. You rebel to protect truth. As Jung said, where love rules, there is no will to power. Where power predominates, love is lacking. You're not difficult. You're discerning. Sign 5. Traditional success feels empty. Jung discovered that some people can't find meaning in society's definition of success, no matter how much money, fame, or approval they receive. Why? Because these individuals are driven by what he called the transcendent function. They're not chasing validation. They're chasing wholeness. For these rare souls, success without meaning feels like spiritual starvation. They crave purpose, not prestige. They would rather serve something eternal than climb a ladder built on ego. If you've ever achieved something others praised but felt a void inside, you're not ungrateful. You're just wired for something deeper. Sign 6. You understand the language of symbols and archetypes. Jung's greatest discovery was perhaps this: the unconscious mind doesn't speak in words. It speaks in symbols. And some people are born fluent in that ancient language. If you're drawn to dreams, mythology, synchronicities, metaphors, if you intuitively grasp deeper meanings behind everyday events, you're exhibiting symbolic intelligence. You might see life not as a series of events, but as a mythic journey. You notice the hero's path, the shadow's whisper, the archetype hidden behind the mask of the mundane. While others dismiss symbols as fantasy, you see them as keys to truth. Sign 7. You've gone through profound suffering that reshaped you. Carl Jung discovered something startling. People who don't belong in this world are often initiated through intense suffering, not ordinary hardship, but soul-deep trials that fracture their identity and force rebirth. He called this the path of individuation. You do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, Jung said, but by making the darkness conscious. You've walked through fire, depression, loss, existential despair, and emerged with new eyes. And now you understand pain not as punishment but as preparation. Jung believed these individuals are wounded healers, those who must know the dark in order to guide others toward the light. Sign 8. You feel called to help others awaken. Despite everything, despite the alienation, the suffering, the loneliness, you feel an unshakable pull to help others. You might not even know why. It's just in you, to guide, to heal, to awaken. Jung called these people carriers of consciousness. They're not here to fit in. They're here to transform. They are the teachers, the mirrors, the healers, the light in dark rooms. Not by choice, but by soul design. They speak truths others fear. They question what others blindly accept. They bring clarity, even when it's inconvenient, because they can't not. So if you saw yourself in these 8 signs, Carl Jung would tell you something powerful. You're not defective. You're necessary. Your otherness is not an accident. It's a signpost. You're a pioneer of consciousness, born to walk ahead of the tribe, to map the unknown, to help humanity evolve. You live in tension between 2 worlds, the one that exists and the one that could exist. But your existence helps bridge that gap. The world doesn't know it yet, but it needs you. As Jung said, to be your own man is a hard business. If you try it, you'll be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. So stop trying to change your shape to fit the mold. The mold is broken, and you were never meant to fit it. You were meant to break it and build something better. Jung would remind you, your vision becomes clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. This is your awakening. The world you've longed for begins within you. Thank you for being here. If this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And consider leaving a super thanks below to support this channel's mission of awakening and truth. Your presence matters. And your difference? That's your gift.